To install agents, go to Edit, Preference, Add-on tab, little arrow here, Install from disk, find the zip file you downloaded, and install from disk. You can go to the Agents tab, click New Simulation, and this will give you a basic simulation of agents. Okay, let's delete everything but the simulation so I can show you how to create one from scratch. I have some nav mesh here. I will use the basic one, which is just a plane that has been subdivided. I'm gonna turn this off, go back to the simulation object, delete all this, use the basic nav mesh, and I will turn on show nav mesh in the debugging visualizer. And you can see I have my nav mesh here that I can see through the simulation, and you can see it's also been triangulated, which is normal. So now you can see on the object inputs, I have an obstacle collection, which is optional, so let's not do that for now. And we need a spawner collection and a goals collection, which we already have here, so let's add them. And these two collections need spawner objects. Let's just use a plane. This defines where our agents will spawn, and I will put it above the nav mesh. I will also turn on wire mode for it, and I will add the subdivision modifier so we can have a few more agents. Shift D, duplicate it, move it to the corner, and move it in the goal collection. I suggest whenever you create a spawner, you duplicate it and add it to the goal collection. If you go into the simulation now, I'm going to turn off wireframe and turn on show path. I'm going to press play, and this should work just fine. So hopefully you can see that to have a simulation, you usually need a nav mesh, a spawner, and a goal, and that's basically it. You can have an obstacle collection, which is optional here. So if I add a cube here, maybe add one here and one there, why not? And if I go to my simulation object and add this nav mesh obstacle collection, turn the obstacle off, you can see my nav mesh has been updated to include the obstacle as non-walkable area, and it does this just by deleting faces on the nav mesh. Is pretty simple. And now my agents will do their best to avoid obstacles. Continuing on the inputs here, you can see there is a pathfinding input. I can turn this off, and this will simply turn off the pathfinding, so agents will go in a straight line toward their goal. Randomness, if I turn this back on, we'll just add some randomness to the path. As you can see, they become a bit more random, and this agent decided to go this way, and this adds a bit more randomness to where the agent goes, basically. Custom cost, so if I turn off my obstacle collection and I turn off the simulation and have a look at my nav mesh object, I can create a new vertex group, call it pathfinding underscore cost, go to weight paint, and now I can paint obstacles. So this is a nice way to paint, to add obstacles through painting. And I'm going to turn this off, go back to simulation, turn it back on, and you can see now the agents will avoid what I just painted. Good. Looking at the input here, agents turning speed. So this defines how fast the agents turn when they try to follow path. If this value was lower, they would not do such a good job at following the path. You can see they can turn quite slowly following the path. And if this was much higher, maybe they would turn in a too snappy of a way for you. So you can control this here. Path sampling max offset. If I turn on show leading position, you can see this creates points, and the points are always in front of the agent. So to clarify what these are, basically the agents don't really follow the path, they follow points that themselves follow the path. How far this point is from the agents will define the behavior of the path following. So if this point is really far away, so I'm going to increase the offset by a lot, the agents will cut corners and they will like go through obstacles, but this will tend to smooth out the path a lot effectively. If this is very low, then the path will be less smooth, and you can see they try to follow the path a bit too much, so this leads to non-smooth behavior. So keep this around 6. Border margin propagation iteration. So I'm gonna turn this off and go back to using a collection for obstacles. So this will be clearer. I will also move this cube a bit more. Yes, good. So turn this off. I'm gonna show border margin, and so the border margin propagation, basically when the paths get computed, they take into account the borders, so the paths don't really are not too close to walls or to obstacles or to the nav mesh borders, basically. So the more iteration here, the more the path will stay away from the borders, and the less iteration, the more the path will get close to the borders. And you can see they get pretty close here, and if I increase this, the path kind of avoid the borders a bit more. Okay, so that's it for our pathfinding settings. Now regarding our agents settings, color by group. This is for when you have multiple spawner objects. So if I shift D, I can create 3 groups here. And usually you would also create goals for each by duplicating the spawner and moving them to the goals. And by the way, a spawner gets assigned a goal based on its position in the collection. So the first spawner gets assigned the first goal, and this is defined by the name. So if this was plane number 6, then it would go at the end, and this group would get assigned. Okay, so this is actually a little bit of a bug. I don't know why this group should be assigned this goal. Oh, it's because of the caching, maybe? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll have to look into that. So as I was saying, you can see these groups get assigned from on frame 2 this goal. And there is a little bit of a bug where on frame 1 it's not assigned the right goal, and the paths don't show really where they're going, and I'm not sure why. I'll have a look at that. As I was saying, on the simulation, so color by group does that. It just colors the agents based on their group. And by the way, all of this, I don't know if I've said it already in the video, but agents is in early beta, and the little bugs we just seen, and also that all of these parameters will change in the future, and they are already changing almost weekly. So this video will become obsolete very quickly, but at least it's something, since there is no written documentation yet, because I don't want to maintain documentation when I'm obviously still doing very strong changes to the features of the add-on. I hope that makes sense. Slowing strengths and turning strengths, this is pretty easy to explain. So when you have an agent here and another here, and this agent is going this way, if there is an agent in front, it's going to try to slow down to avoid collision. So this define how strong it's going to try to slow down. And this one is going to define how strong this agent is going to try to turn away from the agents in front. And you can experiment with this value. And if both at are 0, then agents simply ignore other agents and try to just go to their goal. Friction strength, I believe this does nothing now, so I need to take this off. Max speed defines the maximum speed of each agent in meter per second. 8 meter per second means they're sprinting quite quickly actually. 2 meter per second means they're gonna walk. A randomized speed, if I get this back to 6 and I randomize the speed by like 4, means some agents will be walking and others will be running. This just means it add a bit of randomness to the maximum speed. So this is always the maximum value 6, and this value just subtract from it. So now some agents will be at 2 maximum speed, some at 3, some at 4, up to 6 meters per second. Acceleration just define the acceleration of the agents. If this is on 5, they will start running straight away. And so this is like a gradual acceleration. I'm going to turn off randomized speed so we can see this more clearly. Here you go, you can see they started running. Stop distance, when agents are at less than this distance, and this is in meters, at less than this distance to their goal, they will change behavior, they will stop following paths, and they will just go straight to the goal and slow down. If this value is too low, they will have trouble stopping where they need to stop, and they will start like going in circles around their destination because they cannot like reach it exactly because they don't turn fast enough. And if this value is too high, they will change behavior too quickly and they will start going through obstacles as we've just seen here. So this value should be around 2 meters. Slope, influence and speed. This is in case you have slopes on your nav mesh. So I'm just going to use a mountain nav mesh I have here. I'll also delete everything but one group, move my spawner object here, move my goal here. And by the way, when this is too laggy for you, you can always turn off the simulation modifier right there, and you know, you would also turn on the nav mesh object visibility, and now you can move the spawner and goal more easily without latency. So you can see that first of all the Pathfinder is trying to avoid slopes. That's normal, that's what we want. And so this does, well, basically this slow down agents when they are on a slope. So the simulation is not running very fast right now because the nav mesh that we currently have is quite dense and quite big, as you can see. So we can, and also the material view is slowing things down. So now we have 30 FPS, so that's good. And you can see now whenever they're on a slope, they're gonna really slow down. And if this is off, they're just gonna run all the time regardless of the slope. So now we've seen everything. There is also a few visualizer we haven't seen. Show agents as points is just doesn't instance any mesh on the agents, and sometimes this is good when you have lots of agents, so the simulation runs faster. You can just show them as points so you don't instance animated mesh on them. Direction, speed, index, group index. So direction is just showing the direction of the agents with a little arrow. Speed index and group index is just text on top of the agents showing their index, their speed, and their group index. And that's just for debugging, really. And that's it. That's the video. So now you should be able to use agents. Thank you for your patience with the development of agents. I know it's a little bit buggy right now, but it's improving every day. Thank you for buying early. Sorry if my voice sounded terrible. I'm sick with the flu right now. I just did this video. It took me like 5 times to record it because I keep coughing, but here you go, at least you have something to work with. Au revoir.